Hopefully you guys are liking everything we're talking about. This is the most real and behind-the-scenes information. Again, financing real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs. Please subscribe to the channel. We need support. We're going to continue to talk about some of the things we still didn't discuss before the outage.
Hopefully you'll get proper equipment next time.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Right.
So let's talk about rents continue to skyrocket across the country. I want to go into that. One last thing I want to end up on was we were talking about price reductions. Now, do you guys think that price reductions are going to continue to happen here in Las Vegas, or do you think this is just short-lived? We were kind of in that discussion before all this ended. Like I said, I feel that we're going to still continue to see pockets that are going to decline because I think the shortage of supply that we have. And yes, we're opening up. Cody brought up a good point. He said that, it's maybe the time of year, and that's why you're seeing it as well as you did, Rick. So what do you guys think, man? You guys think that we're going to continue to see people lowering the prices of their homes? We know Summerlin's probably going to get the list, whatever they list their home for the most part, they're going to get that. But they're going to still be coming down on their offer because you're going to have to now mold yourself to other people selling their house, right? So if everybody starts to come down and there's enough homes in those areas that are selling for less than what they list for, then you're going to see those prices come down. What do you think, Rick? You think you're going to continue to see this price reduction we're starting to see a little bit here over Las Vegas?
Yes, it's only going to be short term, though. Like I said before, I think it's going to turn around first of the year, January, February. But up until then, yep.
Ending. Well, we had a show on Tuesday, so if you guys don't know that, we had an analyst come on, and he talked a lot about what's happening with the market and where he thinks rates are going to go. A lot of people think, well, rates are going to continue to go up. All news is saying that, and it could. Now, my thought process and his thought process is pretty much similar, where as rates go higher, see, you got to figure that the Fed is buying bonds and they're buying treasuries. And as that portfolio expands, they have to service that debt. The Fed has to actually service that debt for anybody that's buying into those bonds or treasuries. Why would they want to have more? They have to have more responsibility of servicing the debt. So therefore, why would they continue to buy those bonds continue to go into that?
All of that makes sense. And that's exactly how they keep things down. So you're exactly right about that. My point is inflation. 40% of all the money that's ever been printed in this country has been in the last 2 years. How can there not be a cause and effect of that somewhere along the line?
Well, we're seeing it. I'm not saying they won't raise rates to 5%. I'm just saying this is another contributing factor of why I think that home affordability could potentially go away. Now, if rates stay the same, you're still in the game.
What I'm saying is I understand that's how they always go about it. I'm saying this time there might be some bigger factors into play that might not be the result that you get from that action like you have in the past. I mean, how can it not, I guess?
What do you think, Rick?
What does that mean, Rick?
Do you agree, Rick? Do you agree, Rick?
Yeah, I concur.
We're just going over
listen, being the oldest guy in the room, always, it's never just one thing. It's never just one thing. And I agree, really, I do agree with Brett in that just because it's went a certain way when you do something, A, B, or C, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen again because this whole COVID thing has thrown a freaking wrench into the entire economy, and the way that they're reacting to it, again, is totally different than what's ever happened before. So just the fact that they are buying bonds or doing whatever it is that they're doing to try and correct doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to end up being what it's ended up in the past.
But the reality is I feel that home affordability is going to go away at some point. And I do feel that if you're going to try to get into a house, right now is probably the time to do it because it's slower.
Absolutely.
Rates are still good. And I know it sounds biased, but rates are still good. I get it. Some analysts out there think in 2022 that by August 22, we're only going to appreciate 2%. Vegas is that outlier. Like I said, you can't follow the same situation as Vegas. Vegas has an aura. It has something about where it's a destination people want to be.
Worst case scenario is 2%.
Well, look, and the cost of living, the cost of living is affordable. Taxes are low. There's no state tax still. So I think people need to look at this, and that's why they're making a move, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, even the 2% that I'm given for the bottom number, that's still an increased market. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not prices going anywhere down.
Let's just for a second, slow down. One of the problems in society is instant gratification. And what we're all talking about right now is relatively, I mean, really, really short term. I mean, you can go back to the Depression back in the 30s and go through the same thing and say, look at all these people in breadlines. They're never going to be able to afford a home ever again.
Yeah.
That's not true. Things catch up. It takes time. And so, yeah, people are always going to be able to afford homes. It's going to take time for wages to catch up. And the house pricings are going to tend to increase slowly.
What was the interest rate with Jimmy Carter as president in the late 70s for a house?
It got up when I was a mortgage broker. It was close to 18%.
And people still bought homes?
They still bought homes.
There you go.
But and here's what happens. So when the interest rate turned around, then what happened? All the refinancing started again. So people don't stay there. Once the rates come down, they refinance, and those that could afford at 18%, they're just like, holy crap, hitting champagne when the rates go down to 12%.
Here's my, have rates been over 5% ever? No, right?
Not recently.
No. Okay, so listen, everybody's accustomed to this now. The problem is that once they start to go up even a slight, and also the internet at their fingertips, people just know, hey man, I'm watching it just like you.
More informed by.
More informed, you know. And so you're looking at these things and you're saying, well, okay, what would change that? So maybe the mindset then was, hey, we could still do this and we're still okay with the 18% because, you know what, we still believe in it. The consumer confidence is there. Now it's like, well, you know what, man, money's been cheap for so long. Why would I want to pay 4% for money? It was 3% for 5, 6, 7 years, right?
That's not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you, but most people, at least, 1%, 2%, they're not going to freak out. And guess what? And then that's going to settle. And even if it goes up another 2%, that's going to settle, and they're going to get used to that. It's
the
like
thing we're talking about.
It's like the freaking frog in the frying pan or in the water, the boiling water.
At the end of the day, it's real estate. Everybody needs a place to live.
They need a place.
Whether
to
you
live.
rent or your own, every single person needs a place to live.
You're going to have those people, and probably the majority of the population, though, they're going to take a long absence from saying, you know what, I'm just going to kind of see what happens and monitor.
So then they can rent and pay more.
Well, and that's the thing. So we're going to talk about rents going up, but we all agree that if rates go up, could that be a contributing factor affecting buyers' home affordability? Obviously, right? So So that's another thing that we have to look at with rates.
So think about that. No homes on the market with an increased interest rate. Mentally, too, what it does to them.
Well, they're also looking at a situation where they don't want to put themselves in a place where they're mortgage broke. Okay, and I think as you look at
broke.
You don't want to put half your payment going towards your mortgage, right? You want to still have money left over. And as you see these rates go up, sensitivity on rates is a big thing. Look, I do refinances all the time, right? People will call me and say, you know what? I seen rates go up. I go, guys, they went up 1/8 of a point.
Yeah.
Right? It's a $30 difference.
That's the thing.
But it's like, hey, I think I'm going to wait. Like, it's $30.
So here's
right?
what happens.
And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, guys, you have to see the overall trend. And I think that's what we're looking at. If the trend continues to go higher, by this time next year, home affordability will even be less. We're going to probably talk about just, hedge fund investors and people buying investment properties and second homes. And the people that are living here aren't going to even be buying a home. They're going to be renting, or they're going to buy a home and you're going to have like 2 or 3 families living with each other.
I
That's
have a
where it's
question,
headed.
Dan. So what if is there loans for people that want to be investors that you can offer to them aside of cash buyers?
You mean like a brokered loan, or
No, just a loan.
She's talking about investments. So usually they're 30% down as opposed to some of the other.
It's either got to be owner occupied, or if it's not owner occupied, then obviously.
No. I mean, look. So there's investment properties that you can buy for putting 20% down, right? So that's what the thing is. So yes, there's opportunity, but people with money are the only people that are going to be buying homes or high end homes like he has, because you're going to either have the money to do it and where you can do a primary and do it how you want it, or you're going to be somebody out there that's going to be competing against an investor, and they're going to be coming in with cash. They're going to come in and put all the chips in and say, hey, you know what? I got lists, man. And if you need me to go over, I might go over. I'm not sure, right? And that's the problem. You're going to start to see a very much it's going to be something where the average buyer may just lose altogether focus on saying, you know what? I don't even want to buy anymore at all.
You're somewhat seeing that right now. I have a couple buyers that are right below the 400 mark. And both of them, I've wrote offers the past 2 weeks. I've wrote probably on 8 different properties, and 7 of the 8 got beat by cash. full price.
So isn't that a situation where it's a vital
And they're
it's a
investors.
vital position to be in though, where if you're buying a house as a primary residence, right, and you live here, okay, you're not coming from out of state. Let's say you live here and you're looking for an opportunity, maybe even out of state. But if you're out there and you're saying, you know what, we really need month supply. We need supply because what that does is it's an even playing field. You're not going to have everybody going after the same property. And again, I think that having this extra month, I hope this trend continues. And I hope we see continuous drops in prices because it's going to help the average consumer or buyer out there look for a home and be able to feel like they can actually compete and get an offer accepted. Because right now they're competing. I mean, it's all competition right now.
Hey, I need to give the viewers, the listeners, a little bit of perspective here. You talk about being mortgage broke and they don't want to do it. Last week we talked about that the average home went up $51,000 a year for the past couple of years, whatever it was. So being mortgage broke. So when I bought my first property, and I swear to God, I was making about $2.65 an hour, and my wife was making about $1.78. It's all relative. We were mortgage broke back then, and you have to take it in the shorts to begin with. Things are going to change. They're going to improve. And if you're looking at it from the standpoint that, I don't want to, I need to be able to go out to eat 3 times a week or twice a week, and I need to go do all this stuff. Look at what you're giving up in the long run. Okay, in the long run, you're screwing yourself by not being mortgage broke right now for the short term. Your situation in employment is going to improve. Your salary is going to go up. It's going to take time, but that's the way it is. And if you don't pull the trigger now, you're going to regret it on the other end.
Well, we need to do something about the inflation. We need to do something about, and we can't do anything. Obviously, if the Fed doesn't step in and do something with this, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that these people are going to it's going to be a continuous pattern? They're just going to be out on the sidelines, right?
First of all, I think that we can do something about it, and we can handle that personally when you go to the polls. Okay, that's how you can handle it. If you put people in office that are taxing and they want to spend and they don't want to cut back, then you get what you get. So you can do something about it, and that's when you do something about it.
Let's get into the rents. Okay, so let's talk about rents and where we see rents soaring. So in Florida, this is a different topic that we're talking about as far as rents go. Rents are soaring everywhere, right? It's going just like it is with the mortgage and the housing market, and including payments and everything else. Mm-hmm. You're seeing this across the board, and Rick could talk about this. So you look at this property. I want to bring this up really quick. And this property here in Summerlin, now granted it has a pool, but it is going for $4,000 a month.
1,735 square feet,
3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, just with a pool, right?
And a 2-story.
Look at this right here as far as the front. Now it's nice, it's new, but would you pay $4,000 to rent this out?
No, it's worth $2,200 a month.
Right. So, but listen.
I said the same thing.
Right, but obviously it's on the market. People may rent it out, and you know what? With the shortage of rents, this is why people are going into the market going, I need to be an investor. Esmeralda's over here like, I need a rental property. Like, of course, because look, people are going to pay what they need to because the shortage of homes the same as the rental market. So do you guys are both doing analytics over there. You guys,
I mean, $4,000, that's a lot of money.
Damn right I am.
Oh, wow.
I just opened up a door over there because I think they're both messaging. So what do you think, man? You guys think that rents are going to continue to soar? Because look, in Florida, they've doubled in rent. The average price of home right now, I think we were looking at was about $1,700 for
over what period of time?
And what part of Florida?
Let's say this, over the next 6 months.
Over the next, or you mean over the past?
No, over the next 6 months, do you think rents are going to keep going up?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as housing prices continue to go up, rents are going to continue to go up. They're tied. They're tied together because, like we've discussed in many weeks, if you can't afford a house, you got to rent, and then you've got more demand or the demand that you need in order to keep the prices moving.
Yeah. So I mean, but people will pay a premium in Zillow, right? I mean, not in Zillow. I mean, Summerlin, right?
Well, yes. If you're going to compare, say 2,000 square feet in Summerlin as opposed to 2,000 square feet behind the Stratosphere, yeah, they're going to pay a premium in Summerlin.
Location.
Yeah, it's location.
local.
I mean, but the average rents across, I think Las Vegas was $1,700 a month, I think is what
Right.
it
Yeah.
was, you know, and we've seen this increase before. Now, if you get a home, let's say, I don't know, 2,000 square feet, right? Decent location. Probably just throwing some numbers out. But what do you think? I mean, is that going to be consistent with 1,700, or you're going to be paying more for a house like that?
First of all, it's going to be a little bit more than that because 1,700, when I made that statement on Channel 13, that's for the entire market. So that includes your studios and that includes your properties that are out at Lake Las Vegas, okay? So that was the average for everything. Home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath is higher than that as an average.
Yeah.
So just looking at this particular property, it seems to me that should go for right around $2,800 at the moment, maybe a little bit higher.
I mean, it's a nice
There's-
pool.
No, it's a nice.
There's
yeah,
another.
I'm just saying.
There's
Should-
another
should
one
go.
on that street that is 400 square feet less than this one, but it's a single story, and this is a 2-story, and they have it for $1,650 a month.
That's what I'm
offering for
saying.
rent. $1,650.
So why is it such a huge, like, how can?
Well,
and
number
this
one, they
is-
have it fully furnished. So anybody who does fully furnished
Yes.
is going to charge more per month.
I understand.
And which is what I suggested
Oh, okay, that
people in
makes
the past,
sense.
which is if you do a short-term rental, like 6 months and fully furnished, you'll get double the rent.
So Rick, how does somebody like think that they're going to get that? Because obviously you can put whatever you want for the most part, what you want to rent your property for, right? Is there something that you have to, like, if you're a landlord, you have to follow what rents are doing in that area, or maybe you have that desired home that's different. You know what I mean?
Okay, so this is normally what happens in a situation like this, or that I've run into frequently. When you get people, especially that want to leave their furniture in there, and if it's nice stuff, and they're normally out of state, they're using their out of state mentality. That's number one. Number two is furnished houses that size, they rarely rent. They really don't, unless you're doing really short-term rentals, okay? And so that's per month, but I mean, if you were to break that down per week, that'd be $1,000 per week.
Yeah.
You might be able to get that per week for somebody who's flying in, going to spend a week, doesn't want to live on the strip for that time, and they want to place.
So what's the rules for offering a month-to-month? Does that qualify anything? What's Airbnb rules as far as?
Well,
You can't do Airbnb in a lot of areas.
There is. So month to month is there are no special rules. It isn't any
Okay.
different than any other rental.
Okay.
So
So you can do that then.
well, you can do that. Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
And the answer is no, because it depends on the association. In most
Gotcha.
of these homes, they
Yeah,
say
yeah,
the
yeah,
great
yeah,
great point.
No, you're right about that. Yeah.
Rick's got a great point.
Especially in Summerlin.
So
So
when
I don't really know anyone in Summerlin that'll do a
You look
month-to-month.
across the country,
Just
right?
for buying
And we're looking at
homes.
every major city is upwards. I think the rents are up 70% or more. Okay.
Same here.
Yeah, and it's same here. Now, do you see why is this not going to ever stop? Meaning, why wouldn't people just take their money and try to go buy if they're in this point? And I understand home affordable, but if it's me, I'm putting all my chips because I'm scared that this market is not going to be able to be a market I can buy in the next year or two. So why would I want to continue to pay these high rents? Is I guess what I'm saying. So I don't know. I mean,
Which goes back to what we were saying before. I said, so what's your choice if you don't buy? Right.
Yeah, you don't get a choice.
I mean,
Well, here's actually
look at
you
the
do.
It's not like a car, dude.
There's competition,
you
too,
do
is what
get
I'm
a
saying.
choice.
You do.
get a choice.
You
And
do.
your choice is
Yeah.
stay here, take something smaller that you can afford. Don't stay here and move to a place like Georgia where it's only 90 cents to $1 a square foot. Okay? Those are your
Wow.
choices. So, if you're living here, you got to pay the rate. Just like if you live in Southern California or San Francisco, you got to pay the rate. That's it. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate,
Well, Vegas is going to be considered, obviously, consistently considered in the future desirable. I just think that there's got to be a cap, and I feel that there's a lot of landlords out here that's just jacking these prices up. Like,
Of
I know,
course.
The
I
only
know.
reason they are is because they can at
They
the
can.
moment. At
Right.
the moment.
There you go.
So what
And
would
again-
change that, Rick?
What we've
More
already
choices.
what we've already discussed,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the prices, sale prices. So as sale prices fluctuate, rental prices fluctuate. Just like in 2008, 2009, when you had the crash and everybody was taking less money in your sale prices, guess what happened to rents? They went through the floor too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody was losing their job back then. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and what were they doing? Exactly what Izzy brought up. They're having to move in and live together.
Together, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 2007 and 8, they were saying that these construction workers, they got out of the business because the market collapsed. A lot of them just didn't come back.
Correct.
And they're doing it now, just like with COVID. You know, I've had people on furlough. They were laid off. So, yeah, builders want to make all these properties. They want to get this land and build these properties. But what's the pace, right? At what capacity can they get these properties done? I feel like it's half of the capacity maybe they had back in 2007 and 8, right?
Well, back to the same thing again. You said that they didn't come back after 2007, 2008. Where'd they go? I mean, that's been over 10 years. Are they still sitting at home playing video games? No, they went. They eventually went back into the market. They got a job. They did whatever.
Right.
So the question is, we're back to the same thing. Why is there a shortage right now? Compared to a year and a half ago, we had, I'm making up figures, okay, but there's like 350 million people in the U.S. That hasn't changed in a year and a half. Where did all these workers go to? As far as I understand, people are walking off the job left and right, and it doesn't have anything to do with, again, what you're seeing on TV as to the whys. Unless maybe Cody has some insight because he's working with builders as to why is there such a huge shortage of labor in the building. And that goes with medical across the country, that goes with banking. For the first time, I went and talked to my banker because they put a sign hiring in. This was with Wells Fargo. She said they've never done that in 15 years. And there's a sign that they're hiring, and they can't get anybody to even apply.
Right.
I think people can make money in a lot of different ways now online that they never could before. And let's be honest, when we were all younger, paying our dues, working for other people, did you want to? Hell no. We had to.
Yeah, there was no options now.
Now they don't have to. Collectively, as a whole, they're saying we're not going to. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, there's many ways of making money.
do
There
you
is.
think-
You know,
I
they're doing
agree.
what we wish we could have done.
I agree, but do you honestly think that I think the figure was 4.5 million people have decided not to go back to work, and they're all staying at home working on the internet?
No, it's just that it hasn't been long enough to where people have to go back and take
Yeah.
those jobs.
Do you-
So everybody
do you-
still has
Yeah,
an opportunity.
agreed.
to
Do you
Yep.
live
still
off of
think?
this.
Agreed.
This is something I haven't kept on top of. Is the government still handing out money
No.
hand over fist?
Not
No.
the way they were.
So it seems to me that this is, again, a very short-term blip. Again, you're going in the holidays.
Yep.
You can take time off, be with your family, and come the first part of next year, hopefully things have turned around and they're back. Their people are applying, and the economy's picking up.
People
Yeah.
are
You come to
Put two and
Vegas
two
though, and
together,
some people
man.
are like, you know what, man, I'm here to make money or whatever. I'm here to like work a job, and then they start getting that vibe from everybody, right? And they're just like, wait a second, this guy's doing this, and he's making this girl over here. They're
It's the
making
environment.
$3,000-$4,000
Yes,
like this.
it's the environment,
Okay,
man.
I got a pyramid thing I'm doing. You know, I got whatever it is, man.
Like,
pyramid,
like
like crazy.
I go golfing all the
Hey.
time, and I ask these people when we're golfing, I'm like, oh, what do you do? And over half of them are like, oh, entrepreneur. That's
Hey,
like
but you guys
the
also-
safest way to go.
Remember that
Yeah.
people learned their lesson though in 2007. What happened? I think a lot of people learned their lesson, and I think they made different decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what we're seeing today. And I think too that there's a lot of ways to make money through the internet, and people adapted that, and
Yep.
that's kind of what we're seeing.
I want to piggyback off what Brett said. Again, 100% correct. He's out golfing, and the people that he's golfing with are all entrepreneurs. That's why they're out golfing.
That's right.
Okay, so
Right.
So I'm
That's
out there,
right.
dude.
I need to go out there.
So wait a second. Wherever you're at, and whatever tunnel vision you have, and whatever it is that you're seeing, that's the way you view the economy and what's going on. So, as an example, when I was out of work and on unemployment, and this was years ago, the only people that I ever saw were out of work and on unemployment, because guess what? Back then, you had to go and you turn in applications and sit in a room with 10 other people that are applying for the same job. Now, you don't necessarily see that today, but that's because you're not unemployed, at least the people in
Right,
this room.
yeah.
So you don't see it that way.
Right.
So Brett's seeing it the way he sees it. And someone who's unemployed or someone who's in this pocket, that's all they see too. So
Absolutely.
I just want to put
Absolutely.
that out there.
Yeah, everyone has different perspecents of what their
It's-
daily
Of
life
what's
It's
is.
about
going
your
on.
freak. You have to hang
Yeah.
out with people with the same frequency that you're in.
There you go.
Get into the rental part of things. We're getting off topic here. We know there's construction shortage. Let's continue to see what happens because look, that's going to be a factor in our builders going to be able to keep building new homes. inventory shortage. Is that going to help? So we'll see what happens with that. So look, Rick, let's get right into the rental market. I know you got some data, you got some information. What's happening in the rental sector, property management?
I'm going to make it short and sweet. Again, this time of year, number of available rentals is expanding, and so it's gone up another. What did I say, Brett? Another 5% just this week, 11% last week, as far as the number of available properties. We still are seeing anything below 1,500. Man, we're still getting massive applications on. Anything above is slow and sitting there. One of the things that I'm going to advise any tenants out there that are looking for places, you still have to be open to possibly going into another area. If you really are in dire need. I had a lady call me up yesterday, and it's interesting how often this happens. She goes, "I want to be in a safe area."
I know what you're going to say because I hear it all the time in my end on buying side.
It's the same thing. I know there's safe areas everywhere.
Well, let me
say
this, Rick. Is there really a difference with gated community versus non-gated community as far as people feeling safe? I mean, the mindset's there, but does the numbers?
Isn't any safer?
It's no safer, right?
In all actuality, it's no safer.
Right, and that's what I thought. I was like, well, let's look at the statistics. Let's look at the data.
I thought it was.
See?
I lived in a garden.
It's a mentality,
That's
and
just
that
a
works for me.
mentality.
Like
If
gate
somebody
or
wants to
car.
get in, they're going to get in. It
just get
doesn't
in.
matter. Just jump the fence, man. I get in.
Or
But
no,
no, but
you just
you
sit
know
there in
what?
your car and wait. I mean,
Unless you're guarded. Unless you have.
No, I said guard gated.
Yeah, guard-
But I'll say
Oh,
this.
guard gated.
Yes.
You got a guard too?
No.
I just said gated, but you're talking about a guard gated community.
Yeah.
Wow, you were in a guard. So
Well,
did you
that's
feel
different.
more like better, a little bit? That might be different, right?
that's a lot different.
Yeah, because
I lived in a guard gated community, and I'm going to tell you this though. In my community where I lived, there was more police drama and with the people I lived around than in any neighborhood I lived that didn't have a guard
you had
gated.
a lot of drug dealers.
Switch up
over
the
there?
guard
Yeah.
gated to get
I live in
increase
Rose
that
Ranch.
minimum million, and then
I lived in Rose Ranch.
Hey,
Pay
they
for
know
what you get.
exactly where that's at. That's highlighted on the map for drug dealers.
So listen,
Hi everybody.
I'm just
I
playing.
golf
That's
in
not-
Rhodes Ranch
that's
every
not-
week.
It's
Do
not.
you?
Yeah,
I've got a
I-
story.
that's cute, though. I
I've
like
got a
it.
story
Main
for
course.
you about the guard gated, and that happened this week with me. All right, so guard gated. The tenants decided to throw a party for 300 people.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's a big party.
So all they did was, of course,
Jaeger.
we don't know anything about this, and all they did was take their list down to the guard gate, and if you were on the list, you just got right in. It wasn't a problem, even though it was guard gated. If you were on the list or you even had a close name, man, you were
I always
in.
wonder, Rick. I always
But
wonder,
what,
like, if
what
you're going to
guard
go.
gate? Which community or where was it? Like Dragon's Ridge? Was it?
I'm just going to say it's very high end.
I always wonder if it's like you got money, right? It's like going to the club. I'm going to slip you some money. Just let me
No.
in. Turn your head. You know.
no,
turn
look
your
at
head.
that. Look at that guy in the ridges who
So-
killed that lady drunk driving.
So
Yeah.
the
Because he
fallout,
was pissed
the
because the
fallout
guard
that we're
wouldn't-
having from this is not good. The fallout from
Yeah.
it. So now we're having to deal with it afterwards.
Yeah.
The fallout from it's
and so for your owners out there, that's one reason you got to have a property manager, okay? Because you're out of state, and how would you deal with this? And the type
Why
of
would
fines.
you deal with it? Yeah, right.
Well, how would you deal with it?
Yeah.
Now the association's coming after you with fines, and they're wanting evictions, and they're wanting all these things. And in essence, the tenants did nothing wrong. I mean, they let the guards know what was going on. Nobody said no. They did what they could to keep everything in line. It's just that we're talking a very high-end property, and the neighbors didn't really appreciate having 300 people there.
That's peasant stuff.
Anything else you got for
Was
property
it a
management?
Halloween party?
Sorry.
I always have a lot, but
kinda funny.
I think we need
What's
to
the
keep
key
moving.
points this week? You got any other key points, or did you kind of cover them for the most part?
Well, one of the things that if you're an owner and you're doing it on your own, and Brett and I were talking about this earlier, is you can't rely on what it is that you see on rent.com or Zillow or Rent-A-Meter.
That's a good point.
Those frickin' figures are just not
Yeah.
accurate. And we had an owner call me telling me that her property was listed on Zillow again. And of course, I didn't put it on there. And the point that I've made in the past is that these companies, they will re-put up properties just to have inventory. And Brett's got a whole thing that I hopefully he's going to bring up about Zillow right now that he heard with the CEO that went public with the inaccuracies of Zillow.
Yeah.
Take it away, Brett.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick. So, Brett, thank you so much, Rick. So, Brett's going to talk about real estate here, but also he's going to talk about how you should not invest into cryptocurrency and it's plummeting, right? I'm just playing, Brett. I'm just playing, Brett.
Tell us about it, Brett.
Brett, I lost so much money this week.
I know, man.
Peace out.
Tell us what's going on with the real estate
you
market
told me
and
to buy Bitcoin
cryptocurrency,
and
buddy.
I'm
Give us the summary here. What's up, man?
So what kind of segue what he was talking about in Zillow. So I believe his name's Barton is his last name.
Yeah.
He's the CEO of Zillow, and he basically came out and was talking about why they stopped their iBuying program. And the two main reasons, number one, was they found out that it's very hard to coordinate people to do repairs throughout the entire country. Labor is hard to get right now. Supplies are hard to get right now.
Right.
And they bought too many, got backed up, didn't anticipate what would need to be done to get those properties going. Number one. And number two, the most important thing was they basically came out and admitted that the Zestimate that everybody loves to go to Zillow and see, oh, my house, according to the Zestimate, is this and this and this. He basically said that they quit their iBuying program because they found out that predicting home values and future home values is very, very hard and very, very inaccurate.
Gotcha.
So the same Zestimate that they use, that people love to go back and say what their house is worth, he's basically saying by our own design is flawed.
Not accurate.
Is not accurate. Our own Zestimate, the same gauge that we use to tell you what your property is worth, we're admitting doesn't work.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And they found that out by costing themselves millions of dollars.
Oh,
that's absolutely correct. And here's another thing of how their own model got them. Let me give you an example. I've been waiting to say this for a couple weeks because my listing is closing on Monday, so I can say this now. But I listed this property for $475 about 4 weeks ago. And before I put it on the market, I put in coming soon status on the MLS, which if you're on the MLS, you can see that it's going to be coming on the market, but it doesn't go on Zillow or Trulia or any of these other websites until it actually comes on the market. So I put in coming soon status on the MLS. My seller had bought the house in February for $395. We put it at $475. Wow. And it was like, wow, but they had to, in order to clear any sort of money, because they had to move and they got a situation where they just couldn't be here anymore. A whole other story. But point being, I'm like, okay, let's put it at $475, shoot for the best. I checked Zillow before I put it on the market, and Zillow has this house at $425.
Wow.
I put it on the market. It hits live on the market. The next day, I checked the Zillow estimate on it, and it's now at $482.
They're jacking prices
How
up.
did it go from $425 to $482? They used my listing, which was active, as a sold. I don't know what they're doing.
The appraiser did that?
No,
Zillow
did.
Zillow did that.
Zillow's estimate
Yeah, but
model.
it's still got a match. I'm saying I get what you're saying,
yeah.
but did you get it in the contract? Did it appraise? I mean,
Yeah, so that's the thing. We got it in a contract, and the appraisal came back last week. It appraised at $475.
So the appraiser just went on Zillow and said, okay, they said
Dude,
it's at 45.
I don't know what's going on, but
playing.
literally, I checked Zillow. It has it at $425. I list the home. 4 days later, it's $482.
So Brett's
And there weren't any that sold in those 4 days.
Brett's just bringing a very true to life.
Yeah.
It happened to him scenario over stuff that we freaking deal with day in and day out, having to re-educate or attempt to re-educate, whether it be owners, renters. It doesn't matter. When they start looking at this stuff online, man, they're just off.
They come back and they're like, so how'd you get this?
Dude, even my seller calls me up like 2 days after listening. He goes, dude, did you? I checked it before, and now he goes, how the hell that happened? I said, don't ask any questions.
The appraiser.
Let's just hope it appraises, man.
They get the. I just want to let you guys know we're going to end the show, but you know what? And I think it's in a couple of weeks we're going to be dressing up as Thanksgiving costumes, right?
Next week.
1 week.
Next
so
week.
Next week we are?
Tune in next week because we're going to have outfits on And it's going to be surprising to everybody what everybody's going to be. I got a good idea what everybody's going to be, but be kind of cool for everybody to kind of tune in.
I'm going as a bullshitter.
I'm going to have a turkey right here. So as you're commentating, you can take a turkey leg, take a bite. You know what I mean? Hang out. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much. You guys have anything else to say?
Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, Rick, what do you got to say, buddy?
Get a hold of us at Atlas Group LC on all the social media and www.property-mgmt.com. Give us a call. No obligation ever. Love to help you out.
Brett, bring it.
BrettJenny.com. You know you love me.
That's it, man. That's all you need to know. BJ. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, thank you again for having me on.
That should be your slogan, man.
Dude, he's my head lieutenant. You need to address him
No
properly.
slogans for me.
Go ahead.
Thank you again for having me on. Aspire Design Studios, AspireDesignLV.com. Give us a call for any questions you might have, custom, whatever. Just
You guys
give me
do a
call.
lot of high end, so kind of explain what your
Dude,
company
top
does
notch.
a little bit, like as far as the price ranges, and then what you guys do, and you deal with a lot of high end consumers, right?
So with Aspire Design Studios, we focus on the high end market. We're
Yeah.
$15 a square foot is where we start and go up from
Yeah.
there. Now with we're always involved in different types of projects just in the world. Anything that needs some design specialty, we're more than happy to be involved.
I've personally seen their stuff. Amazing.
What's your price ranges though? What's the lowest you go as far as, let's say, a house you guys do?
More than you can afford,
most
Dan.
of our set of plans start at about $100,000.
Oh yeah, $100,000?
For
No,
a set.
I mean,
For a set of
For
plans.
plans.
Set of
oh, I
plans.
was like, man,
For the
give me-
blueprints.
give me-
For the-
I'm all in.
for the
You know what I mean? $100,000, I want one.
for the design side.
To design your house, just
your
for the
wallet.
blueprints.
Just for the plans. Yeah.
Just for the plans?
So you can
Okay,
imagine
I'm
what the
tapped
house
out.
is going to cost.
It's $1 million plus, Dan.
So we're $15 a square foot to design it, and most people are around $400 to $500 to build it.
Wow, look at that. But there's people out there, man. Look, I see people all the time with money.
Dude,
Don't
they do-
think you don't got money.
They
There
do
are
an,
people who don't have money.
an
They have
amazing
money.
job. They do an amazing job. Top
Yeah.
of the line, without a doubt.
Absolutely. But look, I'm going to tell you, you look at a lot of financials, people got money. Dude, crypto. People instant millionaires because of crypto.
I know.
And
That's
Brett, that
what
was
we're
going
gonna
to
tap
be you,
into.
right? Yeah, you're going to get it. So
I'll
other than-
facilitate it at this point and then get it later.
give it that what's the website again?
AspireDesignLV.com.
All right. Also, Esmeralda, what are you going to do? You got something going on with the flooring in your house. Is that what you're going to be doing all day?
No, I'm not gonna be there, but I'm just taking care of it. I'm becoming a little construction girl.
Oh, look at you.
See?
Lizzie
Are you
shows
gonna-
up in her tool belt. What's up, boys?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what's up.
Yeah, I had to come in and be like, "What's going on here? What's going on with the plumbing?"
So you wear a hard hat when you walk in there.
Yeah, they're like, "You're the boss." I was like, "Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh, I like that." I was like, "Okay."
I like it. Well, guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back here on Tuesday. We do have a guest. We're going to talk a lot about real estate and financing.
Really?
He stopped. Like, oh,
It's nice to see you're doing a show off topic.
Are you sure? Check your notes.
Yeah, let me wait. Yeah, it's going to be real estate and financing.
Oh, okay.
On Tuesday, guys. We'll see you
Something
then.
new. Cool.
We'll be live 6 o'clock. Please hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments. We love the energy. We love the help and support. Please get us to 1,000. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Tell your friends and family.